Good evening, everyone. How are you this evening? Thank you for allowing us into your homes or wherever you might be. Tonight, Ken and I are meeting up tonight to talk about his message from Sunday. Also, just talk about a couple things that we have going on here at CWC. So, you're joining us tonight for Family Connections.
Hello
So,
there.
welcome.
Thank you. Hi.
Yeah, hi. So, your message on Sunday was, what do you believe?
Yep.
So, what do you mean? What do I believe?
Well, it came after reading Galatians 3, and I was reading a lot of commentaries, and and the research that I was doing, they made a very strong point about what Paul says about Abraham and what Scripture says. Abraham believed God, and it got me to thinking. We stress that what you have to do is believe in Jesus.
Right.
And that's a different thing, and I really got to the point of thinking about it, and we can say that we believe in something, but our life shows what we really believe about something.
Right. Right. And that's true.
And it can be different, drastically different. So
Right. Yeah. So as you were talking on Sunday, preaching on Sunday, and then just listening back to the message, the one thing that stood out to me was that, and I did a little search, and in the New Testament, it was at least 40 times that I saw, sometimes a couple times in a few verses, where the word believeth. So if Jason were here, he would remind us and tell us what we're talking about here. But the ETH on the end of believeth, that's a continuation of something. That's a constant. This is like something that's happening all the time. It's not a one-time event like I believe in Jesus and now I'm got my ticket to heaven.
Right.
But and each of those times that the word believeth is talked about in those scriptures, it's believing God about something. And whether it's salvation, whether it's trusting Him to move in some way in your life, there's so many different variations, and it requires something of us a lot of times, and that's like the sacrifice of our life and our relationship with God.
it is, and the other thing that we're when we're talking about believing is do we really believe? And this is one of the things that struck me. Do we believe that Jesus was really serious about everything he said?
Right.
And if that's true, does our life reflect that?
Right.
And I had to be honest when I sat and listened to that and started putting it into that context.
And you were like, self?
And again, that's not condemning or anything else
Right.
like that. It's just the reality of where I'm at. And I think it's a good thing because it brings conviction, and God says, all right,
Right.
good, you've noticed this, then
Yeah.
let's work on this.
Right. And that's how He
And
speaks.
exactly.
That's how He speaks. And then also one of the things that you brought up was Genesis chapter 22, when Abraham goes up the mountain with his son. And it says that he told his servants, we're going to go and worship. And we'll be back.
Yeah.
So even in that, he was already believing God.
Yeah, that whole thing.
That kind of blows my mind.
I had never really thought of it that way until I started preparing for this message. But to think of the fact that Abraham trusted God. You've promised that you are going to make great, through me, descendants.
Right.
Numerous
This
as
is
the
the promised
stars.
child.
This is the one and only God. So if I go through with this, I don't know what you're going to do.
Right.
And so in trusting God, he is able to offer up his only son.
Right.
Believing that God has something for him in it.
Yeah.
He didn't know what it was.
Right.
But boy, and that, what do we have that we won't put on that altar because we don't quite believe God enough?
Right. that we're holding back
What-
and on to. Yeah, that's, I mean, and really that's that whole self-reflection going, okay, I hear you. So what? And he's like, you're hanging on to something.
I
So
know.
what is that thing?
And I brought up that book by Jeff Grinnell.
Yep.
If Job had Twitter, and crazy title and everything
Yeah.
else like that, but the seriousness of that book about what he went through.
Right.
I had the privilege of being able to have be at an event where Jeff was speaking a couple of times, and he spoke about this, how, you know, he had his kingdom, and he, you know, it was just wiped out in an instant.
Yeah. And what would, how would we walk through that?
Yeah.
And could we still fall down and worship him?
Yep. It's I don't know.
Yep.
When you stop and just let some of this settle in and think about it. And I think that's really the whole purpose of some of the messages that get delivered, and of studying and everything else like that. That is where transformation comes from, is when you soak in this and you allow God to maybe make life a little bit uncomfortable, maybe make you look in the mirror a little bit differently.
Right.
And again, it's not because he hates you or is mad at you or anything
Could it be
else like that.
because he loves us and he wants us to grow?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so I was thinking about that, about being comfortable, and all I can envision, honestly, is just like kicking back in a in a recliner with popcorn, you know, just hanging out doing nothing. That's like with a book, just whatever, you know. And so you think about that, there's nothing active about that.
Exactly.
And so, you know, there's that movement into the things that God wants us to do. When we're comfortable, if we become uncomfortable, we don't want to get out of that space sometimes. And it's important to sometimes say, okay, yeah, I gotta get up. I gotta move. I gotta go into the place or do the thing that God's asking of me.
Well, and we know Jesus said the kingdom is here and now.
Right.
And, you know, I've stood up and you don't think about this when you say it, but, you know, you'll say, you know, what would it look like if we all walked like we were, you know, in the kingdom and stuff like that? And actually, that's a dumb question, because what it would look like is the recorded life of Christ, because he did live the kingdom life.
Right.
Right here, right now, he did it.
Right.
And I was talking with a friend last night, and one of the things we were talking about is the fact that Jesus came and laid his humanity at the front door before he walked in here. Everything he did by the power of the Spirit in him.
Yep.
That same Spirit
that lives in you,
in here,
and me,
in me right now. And so you have to be honest and say to yourself, okay, if I don't look like Jesus, why not?
Right. You know, and it made me think also of this quote that I heard a long time ago, and I saw as I was looking around for it. Maybe it was Andy Stanley who said it. I'm not 100% sure, but it says, I know a pastor that I had years ago used to say this, but direction, not intention, determines destination. And it reminded me why that I was reminded of that. It says, what we do, how we act, how we live is what shows others what we believe. That's something you said on Sunday. And it's like, you know, it's not our good intentions. Well, I meant to be.
Yeah.
You know, but it's, what are we doing? What direction are we taking? Are we allowing Christ to guide our conversations? Are we allowing him to walk in the places with us, in the hard places, even when we don't want to go? You know, are we allowing that and allowing him to direct that so that we can get to the destination he's already set for us?
Yep.
So anyway, just thank you.
Yep. Well, you're welcome. And you know, speaking of the fact that we were talking about kingdom life and Jesus now, that's a segue.
Yeah.
And then, there you go.
So we have something going on this weekend.
Friday, Saturday morning, Saturday night, and Sunday morning.
Yes. So we want to just remind everyone that we have Jeremiah Bolich, who will be coming this Friday, Saturday, 2 times on Saturday, and on Sunday morning. We want to remind you of a couple of things. And that is Sunday morning, we are starting at 10 o'clock.
Right.
Not
Early
10:30.
birds.
Yes.
Yep.
So if you should come at 10:30, we will have already been going for at least 30 minutes.
Yep.
And then one thing we do want to remind you of is that on Friday and Saturday, you're going to want to be here in the house with us, because what are we doing on those services?
Well, I'm going to be listening to Jeremiah Bolich.
Okay, here, live,
Right
in
here,
person.
live in person.
Okay.
He is going to be here. I believe it is 6 o'clock. We start on
Yep.
Friday night.
Mm-hmm. Come
going
early
to have,
to get some coffee and cookies, I think.
We're going to have some music to start off.
Yep.
And then we are going to have the word with Jeremiah.
Yep.
And then Saturday morning,
Mm-hmm.
for those of you who don't have your gear yet, we're slowing things down a little bit.
That's
We're not
right.
starting right away. It's 11 o'clock in the morning that we're starting.
Mm-hmm.
We're going from 11 till 1 with the teaching with Jeremiah.
Yep.
Then we're going to let you go, have lunch, do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to come back at night. And
6
again
o'clock.
at 6 o'clock,
Yep.
Open up with a little bit of music. And then Jeremiah is going to bring the word again.
Yep.
And
Then we're back on Sunday
Yep,
morning.
exactly. And, the other thing to mention is on Friday night and Saturday, after Jeremiah finishes speaking, that doesn't mean it's just pack up and go home.
Right.
There is ministry time after that.
Yep.
So if there is things like prayer you need or anything like that, we're going to be open for that. And we're going to want to partner with you in whatever it is that you have on the go with that.
So I would say, and I would encourage you, if you have friends you want to invite, come down to those services. And we want to see you here. If you can't make it, then reach out and let us know that you're not going to be able to make it. But we want to see you here in the house with us. So again, that's Friday, 6 o'clock. That's this Friday, the 18th, at 6 o'clock. Saturday at 11 to 1. Then Saturday evening, 6 o'clock. And Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Again, we're starting 30 minutes early. So it's going to be a really awesome packed weekend, but it's going to be awesome. So we would love for you to be here with us.
There you go.
Yeah. So is there anything else that we want to?
I don't think so right now.
Okay.
I think we're good for now.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I guess.
As soon as I strolled in late, I'll let you leave early and take care of some things you got to do.
Okay.
And I'll say goodnight to everybody. Thanks for letting us into your homes tonight. Hope you have a blessed week. And again, we hope to see you on Sunday morning. Remember, early time starting at 10 a.m. Thanks and have a great week.